learned from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it down, we gon' get it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming in as September 14, 2020, and the stock market is going to go crazy. It actually is. We have some big news or an event. We are actually getting Jerome Powell Tuesday and Wednesday. We hit new lows on Friday. Don't forget that little tech sell-off that is still continuing, or we're going to see the follow-up. I have a little bit of analysis predictions for that, but above all else, we are going to hear from Powell. So there's some other events. I'm going to talk about what we got globally, what we have in our markets here, as well as other events and types of news going on and what to watch for last week. So I got that, got the keys, got the plays, and everything else we're looking at tomorrow. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's that first link in the description, and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free $99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/the stock market. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watch list come to life. And yes, if you want to watch Jerome Powell live, we have tickets. You can watch it live on the stream, and there's a lot of people who are interested in watching Jerome. It's kind of as exciting as watching Tom Brady today. So hopefully we see you there. And the most important thing you need to do, post your watch list below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything, post them below and source that info. Shout out to Chad, baby. And also, if I could direct your attention to the random account generator, this is what we do on the Sunday night watch list. This is a random account, and we ask that you guys give us a play. So we take a random play. We started this account at the beginning of the year with $500. We take a random play on the comment section and arbitrarily buy it. So post a specific option play below in the comments on this video, specific strike, expiration, the ticker, and up to $100 budget. As you guys could see, it kind of reflects the VIX in a way, or you could see how things are moving and compare your account. But thank you to everybody who has participated. I appreciate all of you. But right off the bat, the first thing, talking about it globally, there's a few things. We actually have a lot going on this week. The main thing is going to be Powell on Tuesday, Wednesday. Now, the market has already been moving before where we're at, these levels, the tech sell-off, the rotation, all of that is going to be important. But considering the scope of what Powell said at Jackson Hole and last time, even how we've seen the markets move since then, if you really think about it, Powell is going to be very, very important. The two things I'm going to be watching for, we want to see if he's going to give us any hints at future stimulus and how he plans to do that, as well as now that new inflation target. So that could affect some things and definitely affect the market depending on what he says. And really the fact why this is important this week, people don't really know what he's going to say. So remember, Jackson Hole was pretty ambiguous. So whatever he says here will be important. So I'm excited for that. However, on the other scope of things, there's going to be a lot of manufacturing news, even consumer confidence in the U.S. this week, data from China all the way to Australia. Going to get the Bank of Japan. I even think the ECB, or they were last week. But besides that, though, even globally, there's still going to be all of that Brexit drama that could start to take place. Again, watch the pound. We talked about that a lot last week. Let's see if that continues this week. But then now there's also the EU and Russia, that whole situation. I'm kind of seeing that on the back burner, but we'll see if that surprises. Pretty much watch anything of that nature related to sanctions or even how that could affect oil. And then finally, you're going to get the stimulus bill. So a lot of people aren't expecting, there's going to be voting on that, the U.S. stimulus bill, but a lot of people aren't expecting anything to come out of it. It seems like the market doesn't really see that. There was also some Pfizer news too that came out, so we'll see how that vaccine stuff. And I forgot to mention the final point that's important for the Fed meeting. We are going to get the first ever economic and inflation targets for 2023 from the Fed. They have yet to put that out yet. So that will also be another interesting point. And that's why the market can go crazy. But we hit more new lows last week. Watch out for that. Watch out for that whole cuckening and how that plays out. Again, watch for a little bit of a bounce or the market to stay the same and then kind of come back a little. And like I'm even noting here, that could take the whole week. So you might spend tomorrow if it doesn't close down big. Again, watch for the down Friday, down Monday. However, we were down on Friday, but then ended up closing green. The only thing that finished down was the VIX and the NASDAQ. So watch for Monday, but even watch for the markets to kind of even slow down. However, we will see how the Fed, post-Fed plays out. I don't think the market will move too much pre-Fed. However, now the next point, even as far as what's going on here with domestically, there's going to be some news. There was a buyout with Gilead and some other companies. Again, that Pfizer news, you'll hear about that. But I really think that the TikTok news is going to control the news or some of these news movements for the next few days. And a lot of it is going to be conflicting even over the weekend, even as Monday is getting ready to roll in here. I'm already seeing different sorts of news, even the latest being talks of Oracle being the number one leader now in the bids because they could act as like a cloud provider or not necessarily your traditional type of parent company dictating control over it, but more kind of controlling that data server, all of that. But now another report, I was saying or there was another report earlier this weekend that was saying how TikTok has the approval to sell the company, but not the algorithm. So they want to sell pretty much like the shell, and they say, hey, you could buy TikTok, make your own algorithm, but they're pretty much classifying the technology, or it is literally on one of the designations in China as a piece of AI that cannot be transferred. Kind of ironic given the whole IP thing between China and the US, but I really think we're going to see that move again. There has been a lot of affirmation or a hard stop on that deadline on Tuesday. It's going to come around the Fed too, so we will see how that works. But that is what I think is going to be the main thing. Again, we have a lot of stuff. I'm sure we will have a lot more responses tomorrow once we kind of see how more of this stuff develops. But the final thing, watch the VIX in the same fashion we did last week. Again, that velocity, how it moves. If we stay at these lower levels but don't necessarily sell off faster into new ones, this is how a range will be set. So watch the VIX. And if you guys haven't noticed, just like the random account generator, just like the VIX itself, we've talked about this. I've brought this up a few times, but the UVXY, it's kind of a reflection of option prices. So obviously it only goes down, but these pops are, it's signifying how the premiums are holding up, if they're expensive or not. So just keep that in mind. We will be watching that. That will be the main thing, but that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, the first thing, like I'm saying, you'll even see with a lot of these plays, I have an interesting set, but I think there's going to be a lot of TikTok plays, and I think really just there's going to be a lot of hype. There's going to be an opportunity to flip, think, buy the rumor, sell the news, but there's going to be news left and right. Again, it's already a confusing situation. You know my stance on it. It's kind of clear what's going to happen, but we saw last week how the market has been responding. So it's showing opportunity. The key we have to see is when does it kind of die down? Because if a lot of news hits and it gets really conflicting, eventually it's going to lose that effect it has on the stock. So we're going to be watching out for that tomorrow, especially as any of the news comes out. Make sure you're on stream or you got the stream alerts. But that's where a lot of these plays kind of focus on. So I'm going to take a little bit of a left turn, still related to this, but they've pretty much been considered the loser in all this, but I just like how they've moved. Remember, we made a long-term purchase on them, but the first play I'd like is Snap. I'm calling it the random winner, and I'm definitely biased. I own a lot of shares. We just bought a bunch of options on it, so we will see. But like I said, the fact those last few days, they held up, and even during kind of some of the TikTok news, they would get hit, but then they would level out. But I think regardless of what happens with TikTok, it may just start to point that Snapchat may not really be involved too much, or they might just have more to gain than they would lose because they would have sold off if it was really a big threat. So I grabbed these plays right at close. I think I got 100 of them. October 33 calls at 8 cents. So I spent $800, but I didn't make them free. Again, I bought them with like 5-6 minutes left. Pretty much I'm going to wait until some TikTok news hits this weekend and they get a positive gain, or maybe it's right off the morning if there's a tech thing, but we'll try to make those free. But the only thing is, this is again playing if there is hype in the fact that they have just been a winner in the mix of all this rotation and how the market has been. So I like them, but these are pretty far out the money. So this is a key level for them with IPO. We'll see how that plays out, but I really like that play. That's the first one I'm watching. We already made that. The next one is going to be Oracle. Remember, about a month ago, I had an old play on that for January. So if you guys remember, I actually even have the whole price history. This was even the whole play that we did, but I grabbed those 80 calls. I bought them at 8 cents, and they've actually held up their value. I got out between 12 cents and 16 cents almost a month ago there. So interesting how it played out, but it's still at a premium, so I don't really want that, but I'm even kind of using this date that we got out as like a place marker, and even the short terms held up there. So I'm going to kind of see maybe even this September 18th, obviously these decayed. So if anything now, we know this would be the time to strike. So I want to see, but given Oracle that news, I just want to see how that new news that came out today takes control, or if it does, that they could act as that cloud provider. But again, a lot of the news is just here and there, but I don't have as much exposure. That's going to be one of those plays, again, related to the news. So I'm going to be watching Oracle tomorrow. Next, Starbucks. This is a rotation play. We have those other plays from last week. I'm still holding those, but I might even look for more on the short term. I think those were like October 16th. Yeah, so those were the September 18th on that bigger one. But remember, we made those first set free. They're pretty much clapped. So I will be looking for some with time, or again, watch for the rotation effect. That's still not out of play. Again, you could see which companies are still below those 2020 highs, or how they've moved even in the last few days. So that's definitely going to be something I'm going to be watching. So watch Starbucks. Same thing with Disney. They had the Mulan stuff. I want to see how that plays out, but some of these slower moving ones, and they're at an interesting point from when they released the streaming numbers and all that, and we'll see how even some of the sports and all that stuff coming back affects it. And then that leads to the last one, LCA and DraftKings. A lot of sports came out. I've just seen a lot of people talking about this, and I was even in quarantine and bored. I went on, I watched some games. I may have had a DraftKings account, who knows, but I'm going to be watching those. I still have those LCA plays from last week. Those shot up, but then they came down again. September 18th, they're going to expire, so theta really, but we'll watch those. I want to see DraftKings again. It's either going to gap up tomorrow morning, or it's going to gap up and then kind of sell off. Usually when a lot of people talk about it, that's either a really, really good day and it's just too expensive to even get into, or it'll be good in the morning and then it'll sell off. But I just want to watch those effects. And then finally, remind me about another play tomorrow, a global play. I want to just see how things play out, but remind me about that tomorrow. I'm just leaving this note just so I don't forget. I didn't see it as too important. But as far as everything else, watch all of our TikTok names, DraftKings, LCA, Pfizer again. Watch any positive vaccine news. They said they should have a vaccine by the end of the year. Apple, I believe the event is this week. Again, pretty much halfway through September has already crept up on us. So think about the cuckening and where we're at, but watch Apple if they do have anything events. Like I said, Disney, I really like. Starbucks, and then even in the same breath is Starbucks and all that going on. Watch this for the rotational aspects. Again, HD and McDonald's have been good ones, so I'm going to be watching those. And finally, watch the UVXY, gold, dollar. A lot of people have just been talking, even with the Fed. We just want to watch to see if Powell says anything that could upset the dollar, which will lead to gold, everything else, and then ultimately TLT or even the S&P if he says anything crazy. So be on the lookout. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you ready with no fear. I need you to balance the budget. I need you thinking about the long term, and don't get too jumpy and think about what you learned last week, where the prices are. The markets can move up and down, but does it stay the same? What does the premium say? What does the VIX say? But the goal loves you. I love you. I'm going to see you in the morning. Let's go.